Welcome back, everybody, here to the D2CL coverage after what was a rather adrenaline-filled broadcasting game number 1. We decided to take things down a little bit because people's ears are ringing, and we also lowered the microphones because...
Yeah, it's quiet.
I also blew his ears out at one point. It's just what we do. We're like that ride on Roller Coaster Tycoon, where all your only goal is to create a nausea rating so high.
So this is going to be the quiet hour.
Yeah,
here on
we're going to take things down a little bit with one of my personal favorites called Dota 2.
Radiant team pick.
Led by lead singer Art Style. Havorst playing support drummers. Dendy, lead guitar.
I mean, the production on this this album is really just amazing. Put together
really
by
is.
Ice Frog. I mean, the talent that he brings. I mean, every single artist that he is a part of, he just pushes them to the next level.
Yeah, because like, no one knows exactly why the voice was created.
10 seconds
Like everyone
remaining.
knew it was a creation that could go against what Simon Cowell did,
Mhm.
and
5
really it
seconds
was actually
remaining.
Ice Frog who started the whole concept of the voice to see
Reserve
what talent he
time.
could create and bring it into Dota 2.
Mhm.
So we're starting off our draft. So
Navi's
Wisp and Chen
turn
being
to
banned out
pick.
here by Art Style. Sniper and Troll being banned out by NiP, so no OP heroes allowed
Yeah.
through the first stage.
I don't
But,
think we really like the NiP heroes too much. I mean, the Axe in particular really plays against the quieter hour of this Join Dota broadcast. I mean, he's such a rambunctious,
he could do a
loud
soft call.
hero.
He could do a soft call. Like, I don't... Is he really that big? Like, I think he's got an aggressive
10
tone.
seconds.
I mean, just
remaining.
personality-wise, he's just too in your face,
But
really, Toby.
Really?
5 seconds
You look
remaining.
into those yellow, hollow
There's
eyes.
another yellow
Navi's
hero.
turn to ban.
Yeah, we're definitely not finding like the quiet here. It's like, look at Dazzle. Like if he was ever a singer,
The guy runs around
like,
yelling his own name.
yeah, it's,
Dazzle! Dazzle!
it's like
Dazzle!
the I Am Groot band.
Radiant
Yeah.
team ban.
Terrific hit. Groot, 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 Groot. Yeah.
Now
But
all
Vengeful
we need
Spirit.
is a Queen of Pain.
Yeah.
She was banned away by Navi. They say, no more yelling your own name. No more yelling.
We need like the howl of terror as opposed to
10
the wave of
seconds
terror. Oh,
remaining.
Lycan. We need a Lycan. You know, a howling
Mm.
dog.
That's true.
5
Then a Night
seconds
Stalker to provide the
remaining.
moon.
Mm-hmm.
Or Luna. She can provide the moon. Very
Reserve
special type
time.
of moon. Yeah.
All right, well, analysis-wise
Yes.
of this draft so far. Navi starting off with the
Navi's
Vengeful Spirit, and they
turn
pick
to
up the
ban.
Phoenix, right? Which NiP definitely showed a lot of strength with the Phoenix in game number 1. Went to show how powerful that hero is. A lot of teams are really prioritizing the Phoenix a lot more, especially early on in the draft, right? Because the
10 seconds
Phoenix can
remaining.
be both run as an off lane, or if it's hard countered,
Radiant
if you
team
pick it up really
down.
early and you feel like the Phoenix has been too heavily countered in the off lane, you can still pick it up as a forward position, right? So the Phoenix is just generally a team fight winner. This is what Phoenix is all about. NiP, even when they had bad engagements, were still able to
10
win because the
seconds
Supernova
remaining.
couldn't be touched, right? So the Navi are going to try play around with it a little bit on
Radiant
their
team
side.
pick.
Ninjas and Pajamas, though, are starting off with what could be very similar to what their lineup was going to be in game number 2 up against Balkan Bears. Starting off with the Dazzle Axe, I wonder if they consider looking for the Bristleback next and just
Navi's
tanking up a
turn
lot
to
of
pick.
heroes. Instead, they go with the Night Stalker, though. Typically, as I said before, they usually run 4-position Night Stalker. Hanskin will play that one. The last 2 or 3 games that they played Night Stalker, it's always been in his
Radiant
hands,
team pick.
except for that last match versus Balkan Bears, which we saw them run with the offlane. Jonas ran the offlane Night Stalker and was very successful for them.
Really feels like
So-
we're watching an Art Star draft with Viper and VS. Like things don't really have to change for this guy when he does his drafting
Mm-hmm.
in the phase. This is going to make it really difficult though for NiP for their laning phase with having that Viper,
10
having VS and
seconds
Phoenix.
remaining.
I'm almost a little bit concerned that NiP will
5
be
seconds remaining.
incapable of getting into close proximity up against Navi. At least winning the
Reserve
positioning
time.
battle. Like between VS, Swap, Stun, Viper, Strike, as well as having Phoenix with the Nova. Like even catching up to the Phoenix when he's got Icarus Dive. These are all significant problems that NiP will be facing when you have a hero like a Dazzle who's a little bit more passive in the lane. You don't have that control like Rubik or Skywrath Mage to work with.
Mm-hmm.
It's I'm foreseeing problems.
I feel like this is a 4-position Night Stalker that Ninjas and Pajamas are going to be running the dual offlane Dazzle and Axe. Then Night Stalker as a 4-position here. They're going to get a ranged carry and then pick up a mid. The Night Stalker is going to be able to provide some early aggression. Potentially picking up, like he can actually go into the dual lane of Dazzle Axe. He can also set up, now that they have a really powerhouse magic damage dealer, even if it is a Viper mid, which it should be, even if it is Viper mid, you can still gank him at that 4-minute marker solely because Lina gives you so much extra damage in lane. She's a bit of a glass cannon, but you can still eat through that corrosive skin solely because the nukes are too good, plus the fact that the Lina actually gets in a lot of right clicks as well as the Night Stalker. So I think they can still get early kills on the Viper. Na'Vi, though, still going back to the junglers here. This seems to be really the style that Artstyle is bringing to Na'Vi is early jungle. They go for the Chen the first time around. This time it was banned out by Na'Vi, but they pick up the Enchantress, a hero that is very rarely seen in the current meta. Chen is picked up way more often than Enchantress.
Yeah, well, Enchantress kind of just fell off the mark when you kind of had the major strength of Enchantress being given to Chen. The ability to have multiple creeps at the very, very start, and then you could add pressure across the map. But yeah, with this, it's... And you have Vengeful Spirit. Like, this is almost what LGD International were running when they were playing in G League back when they used to exist a while ago, whereas it's get together, smoke up, gank up. But I want to see how quickly this is done by Artstyle. Like, when does he decide to... We already saw an aggro Chen in our last game. Does he try and control up the Radiant jungle from the very, very start? Make sure there's no stacks for the Axe. Make sure the Lina doesn't have room to breathe with the Dazzle. Also, a big question mark, is this a safe lane Night Stalker or a support Lina? Like, how does NiP want to try and lane this?
It's got to be mid Lina, 4-position Night Stalker, and then they're going to run a ranged hero in the safe lane. Okay. A hero that is relatively strong.
Radiant team pick.
Zeus. Oh, Na'Vi really felt like it was going to be...
More burst damage in the mid?
I don't even know where the Zeus would fit in.
It would then be a mid Zeus and then safe lane Night Stalker, off lane Axe with Dazzle and Lina.
That would be very odd. I think that goes against NiP's playstyle quite heavily. I mean, Era can play the aggressive heroes, but I've never seen them play like safe lane Axe or safe lane Night Stalker or something that's super aggressive like that. Safe lane Centaur is another example of one of those kind of heroes.
And normally when NiP play the aggressive lane, they want to play with some kind of aura. They look for the Ancient Apparitions Chilling Touch, or they look for Luna, in fact, the hero they banned out, to be that aggressive hero.
Yeah, so I wouldn't expect a one-position Night Stalker at all. That's simply too early game focused for NiP's playstyle, I would say. But, yeah, NiP, I think if you can get, say you zone out the Phoenix decently well in the first couple of levels, whether it's the Dazzle is bottom lane or the Night Stalker is able to just kind of keep him out from getting too much experience, a good range hero will be able to still keep the Phoenix kind of at bay with an experience advantage, which leaves the Night Stalker to be able to roam around at that minute 4, right? Help out the Dazzle Axe dual lane in the off lane, help out the mid. I mean, avoid setting up Light Strike Array is pretty simple. Storm Spirit is, I think, he doesn't really hit his strength until he has Ball Lightning. Yep. Which isn't going to be up by minute 4, but it is an example of another hero that can be pretty decent in lane versus the Phoenix, just not as soon as Night Stalker wants to roam. But I think they can afford to give the Phoenix a little bit room. You just can't leave the Phoenix in 1v1 lanes. I think is the biggest problem for Na'Vi in game number 1. Even though they won it, they could have won it so much more handedly if they didn't have to deal with that Phoenix who was getting, the solo experience in that bottom lane when he was 1v1 versus the Batrider. A Dendi Windranger is our last pick. So they're going to be putting the Viper now in the safe lane. Windranger mid going up against the Lina. And that does give you a little bit more possibilities to win the lane up against Lina. I think Windranger can actually do better. I think Windranger has the better chance at upsetting the lane, while Viper is the more stable pickup. He's the more stable mid versus the Lina.
Well, all right, let's see how they all end up doing. So let's check out our lanes, because we're getting ourselves already underway. So it'll be Funnick taking the off lane, the safe lane Phoenix, I should say. Artstyle will be this Enchantress, so they're going to an attempt an aggressive tri-lane here coming out of Na'Vi with a Vorst as the Viper course. Nico supporting his Vengeful Spirit. So yes, we do have a Vorst back into the game. He's just like, good luck, have fun, sorry for the delay. And NiP are very understanding about it all. Style will be the Enchantress in that push, then against the Wind Ranger. While Ninjas in Pajamas, they're going to put Jonas. He'll be the off-lane Axe. He'll be babysat here by the Dazzle. And looks like they're also going to bring the Night Stalker up to the top lane to go up against that Phoenix. The middle lane will be Era, and that leaves bottom lane as the final man. It'll be Limp, who is this safe lane soloing Lina.
So Na'Vi know that they're dealing with a pretty dangerous dual lane in the Dazzle and Axe. Whether Hanskin joins them or not is a question, but even if he doesn't, it's still a kind of tough lane to beat, right? I would say it's one of the best dual lanes out there, right next to Legion Commander and Wisp. So it's a very tough nut to crack. So instead they run an aggro tri-lane where Enchantress can take over the jungle, put pressure on the bottom lane, whether it's Lina or Storm Spirit. I'm not sure if they expected Lina bottom, but either way, it's a squishy intelligence hero that you can easily get the kill. I think this is a pretty sound plan for Na'Vi. They basically go, okay, top lane's tough. Funnick, you're going to have to deal with that, but it's a more defensive lane than anything else. As long as you've got Phoenix Dive ready to go, you shouldn't really die in that lane, and we're going to put more pressure on those tempo-controlling intelligence heroes, whether it's the Storm or the Lina. Either one, we're going to shut down in the bottom lane. So I think really good call from Artstyle in the lanes.
We saw some aggressive posturing just then too from a Seal Kid. They realized with the Icarus dive fail from Phoenix to try and steal that 100-100 rune from top, that he didn't have Icarus dive available. So both Axe and Dazzle moved rather aggressively into the dive jungle to stop his movement to the top lane from being successful. So they were just able to screw around with the lane a little bit and just have the equilibrium go their way a little bit too. But at the same time, now they kind of lost it. The Phoenix is farming underneath this tower with a second wave coming in. He's going to find all the experience in the world, while a Vengeful Spirit as well as a Viper off lane. Like, Seal Kid instantly had to come down here. He realized he had no choice. He needs to be here to help out Lina. There's just too much gank potential, because Enchantress, like, she's got 2 creeps already. She's got herself a Tomato Smasher as well as the Centaur. They want to try and help and shut down Era.
I think Lina's one of those cores you just can't afford to have her be shut down. So I think that's primarily the reason why they rotate Seal Kid bottom now. Seal Kid playing too far out here. No idea what he was doing, but he's probably going to give up the kill here.
There's a Void available from Night Stalker. He ended up holding on to it. But Vorst does take the kill.
With a poison twist.
Seal Kids have a very off night. I wasn't particularly impressed with one of his performances in the first series, and it seems to be just overall a night that Seal Kid isn't really going to shine too much. He's been kind of a detriment to his team, and that positioning right there is an example of a huge mistake. I mean, he should know the Viper is going to rotate over. There's no question. So, bit of miscommunication, perhaps. Mid lane.
He needs the magic missile to then fly up for the power shot. That was all that was required. So, and this is something too where, like, Era knew it was coming. He had an Observer Ward, which is watching that.
Oh, bottom Artstyle! He actually does die to that one. The surprise Shadow Wave comes out. He didn't expect that one. Really thought he was going to be able to kill Hanskin. A bit optimistic by him, though. Night Stalker's such a naturally tanky hero that it would be very surprising if he dies to the Enchantress in that area. So really good bait there from NiP, but it's so far the only strong play that they've had, as they are losing out on their lanes quite heavily.
As far as golden experience goes, they're keeping it pretty tight together, which is pretty damn good when you are going up against an Enchantress. Artstyle's pretty much sacked himself to ensure the lane control. And because of this, now he has to go into his own jungle and find this farm. Axe. Okay, he's going to have a crack at Phoenix. He needs some lucky spins to come out right now. He's not getting them at all. And Icarus dive up and down from the Phoenix, but the Axe still wants to be aggressive because he can pick up his Tranquil Boost from the side shop in a moment. He's coming back in again. There's not enough mana for recall. He's short by just under 20 now. And with no dire creep wave, okay, he's just going to go back into the creep skipping.
Hanskin back in the middle lane, trying to keep back Dendi as much as possible, but Hanskin's going to be a non-factor by the time his first nighttime comes around. He's just too far behind in experience. This is the problem with rotating Seal Kid to bottom lane.
Axe, there's no creeps to deny himself too, so Artstyle just one more attack. Only one more attack. The Icarus dive is up though. And Phoenix just dive it down, throw a Spirit. He's running for the Mud Golems, and the Mud Golems, okay, they're not going to get the attack in at the right time. Artstyle will be able to claim it. So it goes 3-2 now on the board.
Yeah, I disagree with their... I know they can't afford to let the Lina be shut down, so that's why they had to rotate the Dazzle down to bottom lane, but at the same time, it leaves Yak so exposed. Top lane, maybe Hans can actually get a really big kill. Oh my goodness, this is huge. This actually jumps Hanskin now almost up to level 4. All that missing experience that I was talking about before, he now makes up for it with that one kill in top lane. Era is baiting out Dendi, I think, a little bit, knowing Hanskin's coming in from behind.
But Dendi also went for the attack onto Era. He just went for the shackle shot and the power shot. But Dendi's got wind run, so he's going to get back behind that tower with no problems at all. It's Era who had the invis rune that was just trying to push the issue a little bit too much. Or at least got a little bit sloppy there, allowing himself to be shackled and power shot. Looks like they're battling again up on top lane. Phonic up against Jonas. R-Style's going to move in, but he's only got himself a Wild Wing. He does have the enchant off cooldown in 1 second time, so he can slow down the axe. The Icarus type not in the greatest position, and there are no more sprites available. And the damage onto an axe, he's got 3 stick charges, they're not going to get this kill. They realize that they have to back up.
I am still concerned, though, because the Phoenix is going to get so much out of this lane, and we saw the impact of the Phoenix last time. I hate to keep harping on it, but again, I don't think if you can avoid it, you should not let the Phoenix in 1v1 scenarios. Sineko on the bottom lane is going to be caught. Free pick off there.
Yeah, there's no way to stop that. When you get the Void, you get the instant Line Strike Array following up after that. And a point-blank range Night Stalker. Hello, Culling Blade. There's your 1v1.
Big pick off.
Axe able to get the upper hand up against Phonic.
I don't think that should happen at all. That's very surprising. Axe shouldn't be able to close the distance as well as he did. Multiple times he's found the Berserker's Call onto the Phoenix. And it wasn't just about, like, you know, cutting the creeps and then, you know, running at the Phoenix from there. That time,
it looked like he
Jonas,
just walked straight at him.
Yeah, he just ran straight at him and managed to catch him out. So, bit of a mistake there from Phonic, who's now going to come into the middle lane, try and go for the kill on Era. Missed Shackle Shot, though.
He doesn't have a jump away, however, so all these sprites are still doing their work, and then he's got a level 4 power shot, and Era actually stopped to attack.
Era, why?
He actually stopped moving to try and let that attack off. We had the sprite on there, and then with a follow-up shackle into the Nova, that's going to allow the Phoenix to come back up, and Dendi, he wants to give a bit of a hand, but it's not going to happen.
Awkward plays all
get
around.
the egg off.
Bottom lane, Sineko does get a bit low, but I don't think Limp can catch up. He doesn't have the mana for it. They pass off a potion onto the Vengeful Spirit as well. At the same time, Jonas does manage to get that top tier 1 tower, but yeah, that was very awkward. I mean, Era stopping to get off the right click there, despite the fact he was slowed down attack speed. Yep. Seal Kid not getting off the Shallow Grave, despite having 2 levels in it.
They got a chance over on Lina. This enchant from Artstyle, though, it's just not enough slow available. In fact, I think he used the enchant. He used the enchant to pick up the Wild Wing. Now, Hanskin gonna move over, going after Artstyle. A long jump in from Era. He just goes for the attack. Obviously, he doesn't have Vortex leveled up. So they ensure the kill over on the Enchantress as Artstyle does whatever he can now to soak up as much of the farm from inside the jungle, even if he can't get the experience.
I mean, strategically, it's pretty sound to just aggressively fight up against the Lina and try and shut her down because she's a core position that relies so heavily on staying ahead. I mean, think about the many games, Toby, that you've seen a Lina play, right? Lina is one of those heroes that you get the quick Yule Scepter, you start getting kills, you are very much a snowball hero, and even late game, you could be a significant factor because that Aghanim Scepter is such a huge burst of damage because it's pure, it just rips through everything. But if you're able to shut down the Yule Scepter from the Lina, you stop that initial ganking item, essentially. The whole entire setup for the Lina comes from Yule Scepter. If you stop that for a while, you basically ensure that the rest of your team will be able to tank up significantly before the Lina actually gets that item. All of a sudden, she's not able to get the kills that she wants, and she never stays ahead. If she doesn't get those kills, not only are you missing out on gold, you're also missing out on experience, which, again, is part of the snowball factor. Lina's by far one of the best heroes to get early levels on. So it's strategically sound, Na'Vi just perhaps being a bit too aggressive with that push out. And, well, they said it wouldn't happen again, but I think it's going to happen again, Toby.
I think it will as well, and I'm already gonna jump the train here and say, you know, we're gonna go to a short break, primarily because I think we blew all our stories as well as patience of all our viewers previously. So we're gonna have ourselves a short break, and we'll come back here. Don't worry, you won't miss any of the game. We'll be back to watch Na'Vi versus NiP in a couple of moments. Actually, let's just do a chat trivia before. We'll give him a minute. So, what is Denny's most played hero? That's chat trivia coming out from Card. Denny's most played hero. It's kind of not an easy one. Because he has played quite a fair amount of heroes. It's...
Oh, yeah. I mean...
if you want to go back...
At TI, he played Ancient Apparition, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, depending which TI, yeah.
Yeah. TI won. I would say it's either Wind Ranger or Puck. It's a little bit awkward. Like, Puck has always been consistently in the meta, right? He's never really truly dropped off.
True.
So there's always the potential. Yeah, you can always kind of run. It's Puck.
You could have let us actually have a bit of a chat about it.
I'm right. Wind Ranger is too much of a hero that falls on and off with metas.
Yeah.
So sometimes she will be seen,
like,
sometimes
like
she
the
won't.
SFs or anything else he would play in the mid.
Yeah,
Or
I mean,
like Queen of Pain would be another one which you potentially could have had up there.
Yeah,
like,
it's just Queen of Pain
she still comes and goes.
Yeah, I mean, she's more comes and go than the Wind Ranger. So,
yeah.
Yeah. 97 games of Puck. Magnus is second. I didn't even think about Magnus. The other one, I was going to say TA as another possibility, distinct possibility.
But TA kind of like dropped off.
Yeah,
everything.
it's mainly because it's not popular in the current meta. Wind Ranger only 27 games. Wow. Feels kind of weird just because it's basically separated by eras, right? Where you know that right now Wind Ranger is popular as a mid, so Dendy can play it now, but he also played it back in the day as a mid. So, and then Wind Ranger went into the off lane, so then Denny didn't play it as much there. We saw Funnick, well, Light of Heaven, Blank Shackles, but then Funnick would play some off lane Wind Ranger in one of the renditions of Na'Vi. So, yeah, just an awkward hero for anybody to play the most of, simply because she hops around too much.
Yeah. Well, it looks like it was a good thing we waited, as the players, now Denny's letting us know that he's coming back. So,
Dendy, positive vision. Dendy, such a happy guy.
At least he tries to remain so. When there's crab falling all around him, it's difficult.
Mm-hmm.
For the chat who was also saying Pudge, it was never going to be Pudge.
No,
because it was never picked enough.
No,
like Pudge is probably
Pudka,
one of the most random picks that come out of any team. Like, it was only on Na'Vi a hell of a lot because they utilized it so much during the early stages of Dota 2 during TI1.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's when it was really used. But even then, wasn't normally played by Artstyle then? At least in Warcraft 3 Dota, it was always played by Artstyle and not played by Dendy.
Artstyle Pudge was a thing.
Because Dendy wasn't always their solo mid.
Yep.
He just became their solo mid. Yeah, you nailed it. You nailed it, Cap.
I did.
And so did a lot of the chat.
Here I am.
I think a lot of people kind of think of the Puck anyway after you watch like the documentary, the free to play, because that one big Dendy moment was him as a Puck.
Yeah. The
all about into the dream call. And I was like, oh,
yeah, that's right.
I got hard on, kind of thing.
Dota.
Just cycle jerk the Dendy. The Dendy.
I have to applaud Artstyle though. I mean, I think there is a gigantic advantage to being essentially a new team, right? And you see it all the time when like a known team faces up against like a tier 3 team or something like that. You'll see them being surprised by the picks because really, as that team, do you really go back and like, oh, I'm gonna look at London Conspiracy's matches, and see what kind of heroes they pick? Not really. I mean, you'll probably skim over it, but you're probably not really going to get a feel for what kind of team they are. So there is a big advantage to being Na'Vi, and their playstyle certainly has been the same in both Game 1 and 2, right? Aggro tri-lane with a jungler, establishing dominance straight up.
Yep.
That being said, NiP did leave themselves exposed to that. I personally did not expect this to be run again by Artstyle, just from their draft. But
the problem will be trying to create diversity in this team when you've been away for so long. Like, yeah, you could fall back on your old things, but there's only 2 players which you played with previously in the Na'Vi roster.
Yeah.
The other 2 are still new kids on the block that may not know how you're meant to function.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's actually kind of a big ask as well from Artstyle to run such a jungle-style hero when he's playing with a support hero, support player, that doesn't have a lot of experience with him. Because you got to really synergize. You got to work close, really tight together when you run this Enchantress VS combo.
Yeah, and I would say that, like, if Na'Vi walk away with the 2-0 victory, I don't want anybody to, like, be raising the flags early and be like, oh my god, Na'Vi are back or anything, because essentially they ran the same strategy and won within 2 games. You know, it's questionable whether or not that strategy is still going to be viable once teams have seen it and they're like, oh, they're running this, well, here's how we're going to counter it. It seems like NiP just didn't really read how to counter it.
That Shackle still able to latch, even though Jonas tried to avoid it. He's going to get sprited up. No, there's no more time. He realized how much damage. Oh, hey! Okay, well, he can end up just killing off the Phoenix, and Funnick makes it a 1-for-1 trade-off while out down the bottom lane. There was already a Shallow Grave used previously here with a power shot from Dandy. He is really just moving everywhere. Havors needs 1 attack to kill off the Dazzle, which means he needs vision. Now it's going to have to be 2. Line strike away from Limp, buying him the Space Seal Kit back behind the tower. The power shot from Dandy carves him in 2.
Oh, Limp, way too far forward.
Arstyle's already here. You can slow him down, shackle it up. And then 1 more attack. Dandy's going to get himself a double kill on this off lane. The Arstyle army has to move over and help him out, though. With the Saturn Blast, in fact, it is going to be... no, okay, there's not going to be another follow-up. I thought there might have been Dandy with the shackle, but he's not going to do it. Now the dive in. Nova is available here from Funnick. He's going to let it rip. Nice Stalker, another power shot from Dandy. He's done so much damage in the axe. Slowed down by the Viper. The Shallow Grave will protect him, but unfortunately at all the wrong times. Dandy is buying himself some space. He knows he's almost in Culling Blade range, but not quite. Here is able to jump himself away to safety. Seal Kid may not be so lucky. Magic Missiles off cooldown in a moment. In fact, Seal Kid's going to turn. And rightly so, because Limp has arrived, but the Slave's too far off target. The rest of Na'Vi's moving back down, including Arstyle. No sprites available, but the power shot again from Dandy, hitting the mark over on top of Limp. The TP in from Hanskin needs to come and help out the rest of his team. Arstyle, now the sprites will be triggered, so he'll come up nicely in the life points. While Funnick throwing out every single sprite he's got, making sure this physical damage cannot be inflicted, but the magical should be more than enough. There's no mana for that Laguna Blade, but the Earn Charge will do the work from the Night Stalker after already Lena came in with those stuns. A Vengeful Spirit keeps the fight going. Night Stalker trying to retreat out, avoid the Viper Strike, slowing down the Night Stalker. There is again the Shallow Grave to give him that level of protection, but of course, 1 more attack would do the job. Or the Corrosive Skin, actually. He shouldn't have turned around to do that attack because to refresh the Corrosive Skin. But Era, he looks for the opening over on Na'Vi. Jumped up, already brought down the Vengeful Spirit. Now it's the Boss who's in trouble. Being blocked up by the Night Stalker illusions, buying some time up against Alina, who's having trouble turning around. The Boss playing the positional game absolutely perfectly here. Denny also with the power shots. He wants Era with the Sun Ray. It's not enough focus damage. Era, another jump up. 2 seconds until that power shot. Denny looked for the target, dive himself in. They got the vision, the power shot. He slices him in. And that is going to be the end of the battle, as everyone is practically dead or moved on to side lanes.
NiP massively losing that engagement. I mean, there was just too many misplays, bad positioning, continuing to be overly aggressive. I mean, how many times Eunice choosing to run into the fight up against the Supernova, then Hanskin trying to chase down that Vengeful Spirit in the river. Multiple situations where NiP were over-aggressive and not expecting, despite the fact that Na'Vi showed that they were doing this in game number 1, are grouping up pretty early and trying to fight you. So Dandy should easily be able to get away from Hanskin there. The only reason it went so well for NiP in game number 1 was because they had the better team fight heroes. This time around, they've got Alina who's shut down, Storm Spirit really hasn't hit his stride, and an Axe who doesn't have a Blink Dagger. Win for a Vanguard build.
Yep.
So you can't expect to win engagements this time around.
Lips down again. The Troll Trap will slow him down to start with the Nova. Well, that's going to burn out most of his HP, and with the last attack from Arstyle also helping out, it will be funny to get the kill. And this means Tier 1 tower on bottom lane is forfeit. But the Tier 1 tower in mid lane is pretty exposed. There is Dandy rotating up here with Power Shot, just trying to say, I'm thinking about coming up there. But there's an observable from NiP that's giving them all the vision in the world. They still can't win the tower race. Primarily because that's the Storm Spirit trying to kill off the tower. That's not going to work. But Sneeko, she's TPing himself up to the top lane. He's got no help here. TPs are now on the way. And there's going to be Arstyle arriving.
They're sticking around too long. I mean, Na'Vi can rotate around behind them. I really don't think he should be playing as aggressive as he is, but then again, they blew Darkness. That is a significant advantage.
And they're observables watching Na'Vi like hawks.
The
downside is without that Blink Dagger from the Axe, they can't jump and then allow Night Stalker just to run up the hill and get the bigger advantage in the engagement. It's just not there.
Yeah. I mean, to to NiP's point, they do kind of need to play aggressive here in this top lane because they need to draw attention away from the Storm Spirit and away from the Lina. These heroes are mid-game dominators, but they need to have a strong laning phase first.
Trouble.
Dire's top
To
tower
crippling
is
fear.
under attack.
Yep, this is the
Radiant's
choice that
middle
Align
tower
9
is under
Stalkers have
attack.
been making lately. To go for more levels in Hunter of the Night, despite the fact that the silence can be super powerful.
It's a 5-second silence during nighttime.
Yep.
Like, that's a lot. That's a lot to pass up.
But think about how much aggression Hanskin was able to pull out at level 4, right? It's a decision that affects you from level 4 onward, right? And I think that Hunter in the Night is actually better than Crippling Fear because it gives you those kills early on. Yes, it hurts you later on at this point in time where Hanskin's level 7 and still doesn't have the silence, but at level 4, 5, 6, he was way more powerful then because of that extra level in Hunter in the Night. So while it can hurt you later on when you're like, oh, why don't we have a disable? That's so silly of us. It does pay out in early kills.
It's almost going to be time for Roshan. Remember, you are playing with an Enchantress with Untouchable. And the damage from the Viper and the VS with the Wave of Terror at level 3. This should be enough. They throw down the Sentry Ward. Unfortunately for them, the Observer Ward is already quite deep on the bottom. The Focus Fire from Denny's going to try and give them the extra bit of advantage. Not to mention they did also buy that Medallion of Courage over on the Phoenix. So we get ourselves a quick pause out from Avost as hopefully not again.
Hopefully. Hopefully. 12 to 14. It is pretty even in gold right now. I would say Na'Vi are winning pretty well. Despite the fact that Gold and Experience are pretty damn even, I would say Na'Vi are the ones who, with this Roshan, are really going to start taking a lot of control of the map. The reason that the Gold is decently close is because NiP have been able to spread themselves out pretty quickly and farm up like the jungle, farm up all their lanes, while Na'Vi have been grouping up a little bit more. It's which is the primary reason they've won so many fights, right? Because NiP playing into Na'Vi's hands when they're being over-aggressive like that end up running into 5 heroes, so go for one more load. All right.
Yup.
It just don't stop, Toby.
It
just
oh,
don't
oh,
stop.
oh, 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 yeah.
Good work, Toby. I'm proud of you.
Got your back, bro. Got your back.
1 and 2.
But at least our loads haven't had any issues whatsoever. Like, we loaded the last one, it was just, well, then again, we were only in it for a grand total of 3 minutes. But
yeah, that's also true. There are still a couple of bugs out there in loading. One of them is with the Chen, where your neutrals actually revert back to being like Radiant side creeps in a way. They're like neutrals that you have control over, which means that then the Chen can actually get more than just 4 creeps. But I don't think there's anything with anything wrong with Enchantress. So hopefully we are ready to go
and underway. Shout out
Nice.
to Daddy Dem. Wonderful artwork.
Yeah, really
I like
cool
your
stuff.
sniper loading screen too, but this was...
I don't even have that sniper set.
You just got the loading
I don't
screen?
have any sniper sets. I just got the loading screen.
I got the gunslinger, but everyone's got the gunslinger. Like, was there anyone that didn't get all the immortals from TI4?
Yeah.
Like, none of them were bypassed.
Not us.
I don't have the drone mask though. I refuse to have that drone mask
Why not, Toby?
because it's ugly as a dick.
Drow Ranger.
It's
You know that
the sad
inner
thing
part
is-
of that mask is just lined with white powder.
the sad thing is that just before TI was beginning, like we popped over to Valve to say hi and do all that kind of jazz. And the guy who made it at Valve was like, "Oh, did you like the drone mask?" And I'm like, I don't know how to approach this. Like, do I say no? I'm really offended by it. I'm just, and I didn't know what to say. I'm like, oh, it's not my favorite one.
You didn't stand up,
Like,
Toby, and
like,
be
you
like,
don't,
no.
There's no reason to crush someone's design hopes, because maybe you'd be like, I'll come back and I'll work harder again.
Yeah, and
But it was-
ultimately it's like,
but it was
well,
like-
I don't need to use that mask.
It was like seeing
so it doesn't
Shadowcat
affect
come
me.
through. Like, how many people saw Shadowcat come through and bought it because they liked it, not bought it because they thought Valve is going to discontinue this and I can make a crap ton of money. Like,
Exactly. It's like the cowboy hat all over again.
That's what people were hoping for. That's really what people were hoping for. Yeah. All right, so back to where we were, which was Na'Vi going for Roshan. Now, Steel Kid with the wave is, is going to realize the fact that Na'Vi is in here. Remember, he already knew it because the observer wall was up on top of the cliffside.
He's just ultimately doing Roshan a little bit more difficult for them while they're trading off, right? This is a standard trade-off you see in Dota 2 all the time. When the dire side goes for Roshan, you take the tier 2 top because it's the longest range. It's the highest amount of length to get away from the Roshan pit. Na'Vi can't respond fast enough to defend that tier 2. So tier 2 for an Aegis, that's fine. NiP shouldn't really be looking for fights anyway in the next 5 minutes. They really need to get more farm up on Era, and particularly Limp, who has had a hard time. I mean, you look at the net worth board, he's below the Phoenix at this point.
They need to find the control out from both Limp as well as from Era. So Era either through Orchid or just through Mana Pool. He also needs to find levels so we can have a point up in Vortex, because he went for the heavy damage build, so it was the 404 build, where Limp needs to find his Yule Scepter. And while his money's not looking too bad along that road, he might still need a little bit more time to get there. And battling up against Na'Vi at this point, is there even a reason to do so? Like, while Enchantress is probably your weakest hero over on their lineup, the Vengeful Spirit's walking around. Okay, maybe the VS is the weakest, but she's a sacrificial lamb anyway. You've got Dendi, who's very close to finishing the Aghanim Scepter, and in fact, just 72 gold away from having it.
Well, this is super unfortunate. They're going on Havos in the top lane right now.
Okay.
And this is... I mean, he's a super tanky hero, and he has Aegis, right? There's no way this engagement is worth it for NiP anymore, because pause, whether it's unintended or not, means that Na'Vi will then be able to talk about what happens with them going on Shachlo, the Viper here. So
this now means that they can TP into the tier 3 tower, and there's no way that they kill the Viper twice and get away with it. At the very best, they can hope for killing the Viper once and getting away solely because they'll get a Culling Blade that increases their movement speed.
See, I'm still okay with that if you can break the Aegis the Immortal.
Yeah,
that's perfectly alright. And because there's no tier 2 tower, there's no support coming yet, you're fine. Like, just take it and get out though. Like, if you try and kill him twice over, mistakes have been made.
But that's the thing, right? It's you don't know, like, Dota 2 professional players, and this is one of the most interesting things about Dota, I would say, is that so much of Dota, everybody talks about strategy and everything else, but a lot of Dota comes down to the feel, right? How you feel about the engagement is why it's so important to play so many of these games and play the same matchups, because you have a feel of when this engagement. Do NiP have the right feel for this engagement? Can they actually kill Shachlo? Because I don't know if they can. He's got a mech. Like, I'm saying just killing the Aegis. He's got a mech. He's got a wand. Can you actually take him down, get the Culling Blade on him, and get out unpunished? Especially knowing that Na'Vi are going to have the quick reactions to TP right away. You know?
Yeah, I get your point. I get your point.
I mean, before they probably feel confident because there's an extra 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds where Na'Vi don't respond in time and don't TP away right away. But getting that small little jump can make a big difference. And NiP, I'm not sure if they continue to go on this kill on the Viper anymore, or if they just, like, you know what, say, whatever, it's fine, just back away. They'll take a lot of Viper damage in the process as Shachlo goes, oh, they're running away, let me get some damage out. But it's still, you know, something significant. And it doesn't even matter, like Card says, Venge has the only one with the TP. That doesn't matter, though, right? Because the rest of the heroes rotate across the map. Venge TP's in. They get a swap on the Viper. She's in a position then to stun up one of the heroes. That's enough stall time because they didn't get the Culling Blade chop. And they have a hero stunned that the rest of Na'Vi rotate in time. So it's a significant problem here for NiP. They have a tough decision to make. At the very least, though, they are going to force attention up to the top lane, right? And that's the most important part for NiP, is keeping attention away from Era, away from Limp. These guys got to get some farm up, and they got to get some farm up fast. So if they can force heroes up to the top part of the map, make sure that Limp is able to push out the bottom lane, then go back to doing jungle, finish up that Yule Scepter, he finally has some solo kill potential.
So, yeah, NiP's asking, BenQ is our admin for tonight. Our D2CL admin for tonight. I'm also just going to say before anything gets made, Joe and Dota is purely commentators here. we don't run the competition. We're broadcast partners.
Yeah, don't flame us, guys. For
We're saying that because Jacob had to say that during a Reddit post that was like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was like number 5 on Reddit. Join Dota admin. It was just like that. That's not our admin. Just because we cast the tournament doesn't mean that we have anything to do with the admin decisions.
Well, the admins are in. We actually have everyone's here, including the Na'Vi management, are also a little bit annoyed, and so is the NiP management. So they're all having a crack. It's well, it seems like we may just force another Na'Vi roster change through the power of the internet. If Funny cannot reconnect back in again, then Na'Vi will have to play with a second stand-in, which potentially they're already playing with a whole bunch of stand-ins. Because they were from other teams as well.
They kind of are team stand-in.
Yeah. But that's still a pretty rough ask. Okay, so he's changing his IP and we'll be back in a moment. That's the hope. That's the hope. Just yeah.
Yeah, more stories for me, Toby.
I don't know, like we kind of burned through a lot of the LAN stories. And we're meant to keep it nice and quiet because people's ears were being basically molested by our voices.
Mm-hmm. When did you start out in your acting?
Oh, wow.
Career?
You want to go back that far?
Yeah. You were really young, right? Like 5 or something?
3, actually. I was a wolf.
You were a wolf.
I was a wolf.
Did you have any speaking lines?
I had to howl.
Were you good at howling, Toby?
I was actually really fucking good at howling.
You were the number 1 howler.
I was so damn good.
Number 1 howler. What's the abbreviation for Australia?
What?
Is it AU?
Yes. Or AU.
Number 1 howler, AU?
Yeah. Yeah, you could do that. Yeah. It's actually, I think AU would probably be considered as Austria.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But AUS is the abbreviation for Australia.
Oh, yeah, that's right, AUS.
Yeah. Yeah. Whoops. I didn't mean to do that. Hi, all the Russian viewers. Follow me on Twitter. There's my tag.
Oh, whoops. Accident by Toby.
No, I hit. I just had the chat up there. That's all it really was. I realized he was screaming into people. Hello to everyone inside of Dota TV. I know someone was just like, "It's want me to do this!" Like, that little thing comes up.
So a little loud.
I should probably even just modify that
We're a little
while I'm here. Like, we can just turn that down a little bit. Oh, is that the one? That's not the right one. Boom.
We won't play with another stand-in.
Boom. There it is. Why they won't?
On that.
I don't blame him. I really don't blame him. Wait, did I turn the other one?
I mean, is he saying like
that one? Is that one? Okay, I think I found the right one. I think it's that one. Beautiful. Awesome.
Is he saying like
balancing up the load?
They'll just play 4 versus 5. No, they'll just forfeit.
We will forfeit it if okay, that's
they'll walk away with 1-1.
That'll be a really sad way to end tonight.
I mean, I'll be disappointed slowly because some scumbag is going to keep his rares out there. Sorry if you guys voted on NiP. I don't have anything against you. Just obviously there is one person out there
who was like, yes,
who voted on NiP and is now trying to desperately save his rares.
I will also flag too the fact that here in the group stage for the European division, Na'Vi is in possibly the worst position ever. They're in number 8. They will not qualify for the unless some miracle happens. They could have potentially pushed themselves up to 5th position, but they're out of reach of BU, Empire, Alliance, and Hellraisers. They're the ones who are currently sitting in the top 4. So it would have been a really, really hard ask to get up there. And it's the same for Ninjas in Pajamas. With that loss, Na'Vi could have actually just leveled them up, so they would have been drawn with Ninjas in Pajamas.
Yeah.
Okay, so then that's not a commitment to the forfeit. It's just saying we will forfeit, and Hanskin has just accepted it.
It's like, all right.
Oh, that's not
that
the
being
case.
said, talking about the D2CL, the current standings, Burn United, very dominant 10-2 performance by them. They only tied with Alliance and then recently tied with Hellraisers, which did kind of keep Hellraisers in the potential running. Though I highly doubt it. Burn United are pretty much slotted to take that 1st place slot, which is a huge win for them because it means they get straight to the LAN finals. Right. So that's correct, right? First place LAN
Yes.
finals. Yeah.
Yes.
So
I'm actually not 100% certain how the other ones get in. Myself.
yeah, it should be a playoff between second and fifth place, a four-team playoff.
Yeah, it's 4 teams to the LAN final, and we already had VG Gaming qualify from China after 3-0ing out IG.
So pretty much Burn United, all they have to do is win 1 game up against Power Rangers, and they guarantee that they will get first place or tied first place with Alliance,
and
who are currently sitting
fine.
at 5 and 3
fine,
and would have to win all their games
it's,
without
it's,
dropping one.
As far as I'm aware, and like I can be corrected if I'm wrong, but I'll be happy to be corrected if I'm wrong. The top 3 positions just go through, so there's no playoff, there's no nothing like that. It's just the top 3 positions from the group stage qualify themselves for the LAN finals.
Oh, okay.
So I don't believe there's actually a European playoff for those, because we had there was no group stage for China. We just had the playoff for China.
Right.
So actually, sorry, I take that back. There was actually the playoff for China. We had a group stage and a playoff for China. What am I talking about? I'm tripping balls.
We get lost in what tournament.
Yeah.
Southeast Asia ESL didn't have a group stage. It had a straight-up playoff. It'll also have a straight-up playoff for ESL 1, right? No group stage or anything like that.
For ESL 1? Yeah, it's just a simple double elimination bracket.
Yeah.
Same thing for Southeast Asia, same thing for Europe.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You guys may not be keeping up with it, but we do have a lot of tournaments that we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Just because
just because everyone thinks we're
Reddit
dead.
says we're dead.
And we also try to keep up with everyone else's tournaments. Like it's not an easy thing to do. To keep up to date with everything.
Oh yeah, like you go home and you're like, well, this is how this team performed. You like, wow, Burn United looking really good, and then you like have to go back.
Changes.
Well, you have to go back and like after the day is done, you go and look at like, okay, how are Burn United doing in this tournament? How they're doing in this tournament? It turns out like, oh, well, D2CL is really the only tournament that they're performing really stellar on. The rest of them, like they are already out of ESL 1. Trying to think what other tournament they're in. Should be in Star Ladder.
Which team? Sorry.
Burn United.
But no, they got knocked out of Star Ladder.
Yeah. So.
I believe.
Yeah, I think D2CL is really their only tournament that they're.
Yeah,
doing
they
quite
got
well
knocked out. They got knocked out in stage 1, I think it was.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm talking about, right? When
actually, no, they were never in it because they weren't assembled before the first group stage.
Oh. Okay.
So yeah, the other team, which I always get confused with, which is the other BU, basically unknown. Was in there.
Yeah, that's so annoying because they're both international teams too.
And they're both BU.
Yeah, they're both BU and they're both international.
Yeah,
so.
they're both BS. No, but they'll have a chance. Because they also qualified them. Well, I say qualified. They got put into the qualifier of Dream League, which also started up tonight. So a lot of fun games all across the world. I know I did a tweet last night when I did like the event view sorting of our match sticker. And it's just for the games that will be to be played today. And it's this huge list of tournament, and they're all overlapping each other. It's like brilliant. It's a wonderful night for spectators. I believe overall, for the viewership tonight for Dota 2, we went over 200,000 of people who are watching over on Twitch.
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good.
It's not too shabby. It's
yeah,
not too shabby.
Dota.
We still
Dota,
need to dig up those
a live game? Question mark?
We still got to pick up more of those English viewers though. There's a hell of a lot of Russians, viewers.
Primary reason.
I think we have a job as a community to also make sure we reach out to other groups like the English speaking group, and see if we. Cause the Russians are obviously a powerhouse, absolute powerhouse. TI5, hosted in Russia, or TI6 because TI5 was already announced for Seattle. TI6 hosted in Russia. They're going gaga, absolutely gaga.
Then when people, well, I suppose they already have visa issues with the US, huh?
Yes.
I was like, wouldn't they have visa issues? Well,
actually, most foreigners wouldn't have issues getting into Russia unless you are not part of their system. Like there was a special group of people that were allowed in. Like the Americans and the Canadians are allowed in, but Australians are not. Australians not. For some reason, we're we're not allowed in, but everyone in part of the European Union is allowed to. But Australia, like, we don't get jack all from the UK. We're not part of the European Union. We're only part of the Commonwealth, which doesn't get recognized by Russia. So it's kind of...
Do you have a question for me,
crap.
Toby?
Do I have a
Ask me anything, Toby1 Kenobi. Go ahead. I'll answer honestly, truthfully.
Okay. On a scale of 1 to Shiva,
Uh-huh.
how sad are you that Timbersaw is not in the current meta?
I'm about a solid. You know, I actually have to rethink that, Toby, because I also loved playing Sniper. I haven't played the new Sniper. Not once.
Really?
Not once.
He is so easy to play.
You know I'm a Sniper player, right?
Yeah, I know.
I haven't played him once because his shrapnel just makes me angry. You know when Melk was talking about like, oh, the new Bloodseeker, I hate him. You know, it's because you have this sort of affinity for this hero, and then all of a sudden it becomes overpowered, and everyone starts playing it, and then you're just like, man, it's not my hero anymore. You know, I kind of feel that way about Sniper. You know, I was like, that was my hero, and now like everyone's playing, and it's just like, yeah, it's not my hero anymore. So Timbersaw, I'm like a 4. You know, I'd like to see some more Timbersaw, but I think I'm getting enough as is. And if he gets too popular, I'll be sad, because then people will start running it at my pubs, and then I'll be really angry when they're not performing it to the standards.
You know, there's one hero which I know we're going to bring back into the pub scene when it finally happens. When Source 2 has finally hit and Valve have time to do what they promised they were going to do, which is do work on my Enigma model.
Yes.
And when that's done, we're going to make one badass Enigma set. It's going to be amazing. And then everybody is going to be playing Enigma.
That's pretty optimistic, Toby.
Everyone. It's not optimistic.
Everyone buys your sets, and everyone plays 5 versus 5 Enigma
They don't have to
games.
buy my set. Everyone's just gonna want to play Enigma just by default because he's a great hero. Okay, so there's a question mark coming out. Are we going to load?
Why would we load if we're waiting?
There's no reason to load if you're just gonna jump in.
You what, mate?
Yeah, why?
Hard style, please.
This doesn't make a lot of sense. Look, NSNAT does it as well. Yeah, you said Funnick is coming, so why are you loading? Why are we jumping back out of the game again? Question mark? Question mark? I withdraw it inside the game and I'm not allowed to.
Chat, do you have any questions for us? No, chat is moving way too quickly.
Okay, so it appears that he also abandoned, so we have no choice. We have no choice but to start again. But on the bright side...
Scandal?
What?
It's a scandal.
Ah, #1 slot again. It's a scandal. What's a scandal? What? You talking about Scandal?
Reloading.
Where is Scandal? What
Well,
happened
maybe
to Scandal?
Scandal's on the Russian rejects team. I think he is.
He's the... He kind of has been. He's such a great guy too. Scandal is actually one of the nicest guys you can meet. There's so many really nice guys in the Russian scene, in the CIS scene, I should say. Don't look at that shit.
Scrolling.
Alright, so everyone's in. I'm seeing Funnick. Okay, yeah, he's out. But Havorst is back. So, okay.
Well,
So Havorst is back. We're just playing
Let's
like musical heroes right now. Like, you pick what chair you want to go on. Oh, that'll be such a great GIF. Can someone make a musical chairs GIF for the heroes and Na'Vi actually moving their heads across each of the heroes? That would be so right for tonight. It's like the GIF that Cyborg Matt made about the players coming in and out with the Simpsons reference. It was terrific.
Yeah.
That was so accurate. So accurate.
Now he's not loading.
Believe. Remember what Dendy says.
Fail
Stay positive.
Boom, boom,
Stay positive. At least all our spectators loading, including our Chinese streamers.
Wait, is Shotchlo playing the Funnick hero?
I believe so, yeah.
And
So Shotchlo's moved to Phoenix. Horst will move back to the number 1 call.
So wait, Hovost is gonna come in. He's gonna be like, he sees his Viper being ganked up by 2 heroes. He's like, what did you do? What did you do, my hero?
What'd you do to me?
And all of a sudden, Shachela's playing.
All right, Horst is
even
back
remember
in.
now.
Horst is back in. So we'll it'll automatically pause the game, and we'll watch Horst die on top lane.
Or will he?
He will. There's no
Really? Are
There's
you
no,
sure,
there's
Toby?
there's no question mark.
Are you sure?
There is no question mark about
I
this.
bet they back up.
I-
You want to bet on it, Toby?
I will. Yeah, I bet you €5.
Fine, €5.
5 year.
Nip
They
back up.
actually initiate. Okay, let's see. Let's see what's gonna happen. I am €5
Oh, you
richer.
fools! You fools!
Get some.
But
Easy.
no, you said kill them.
Heath,
you
no,
said kill
I
him.
said engage. I said engage.
No, you said
Oh,
kill them.
God, stop arguing the semantics of it. Hey, they moved back because the rest of Na'Vi came up
We
in
were
range
both
of
wrong,
the observer
Toby.
ward.
We were both wrong.
That's just
Good to go.
You're such a cheapskate. God.
You should have clarified the rules of the bet better, Toby.
I'm sorry. I only had 3 seconds.
That's right, Toby. I saw my €5 endangered. I just DDoSed your argument.
Don't say it. Why do you have to say that word? Now we're okay. He's
What do you-
he's
is
starting to
DDoS
crash.
is DDoS now like Voldemort?
This isn't over on NiP. It's just gonna be a reload bug. It's just gonna be a reload bug for NiP. That's all this is.
Don't let those loser DDoSers break our spirits.
That away, Dondo. Dendy, keeping everyone motivated for this match.
You do it like those. What was that big music people meeting where
Yeah,
like
you
they're all
gotta
together?
move
It's
away
like
from that.
It's like what are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm moving away from the TP scroll so I don't have to hear the TP
No,
scroll.
I can just move it
constantly.
somewhere else. God.
Thank you.
Ah.
All right.
Yeah, but you can do it like those musical people got together. It's like, yeah, for the sake of great music, we're gonna come together so we can make more money. Just the people who do good crap. It's like, okay, so you're looking for a monopoly on the scene. That's what I was looking at right there. That's why can't we all just work together to make more money?
Always look on the bright side.
Dire's
of life.
bottom tower is under attack.
I knew that would get you started.
Hey,
Bottom lane, what happened to Limp? Oh dear, Limp is dead.
Yeah, he tried to light strike a ray onto the Phoenix, but then Sneko quick on the TP. But meanwhile over in mid, the Axe, well, he's going to walk into it until he gets shackled by Dandy. Then in the perfect positioning, focus firing it, and no one's close enough. He has to call just to increase the armor. While Lavor stuck with objective-based gaming.
Yeah, Havos is like, go ahead, kill me. I have an Aegis. What do I care? I probably don't even know what time the Aegis is expiring at this point.
And you can imagine what Denny would have been capable of doing if that Aghanim Scepter was able to arrive just a fraction of a second earlier. Because it came in after the engagement.
Oh yeah, focus fire is not to be messed with.
Mm-hmm. This is something too which I know we flagged earlier tonight, that Pycat's able to do wonderful things with it. Just because it's really surprise damage that you're not really expecting. Now, Jonas? And that's not going to work. You're still going to Vengeful Spirit with swap and stun. So,
I was like, I saw. Guess what? I was like, what? You're kidding me?
Well,
All right, they're
Phoenix
playing without.
just micro him.
All right.
I think we're going to be at a point right now where Snakeo's just going to be like, you know what? I'm going to save myself by swapping at the Phoenix. And we just keep playing. They don't want to pause this game up anymore. They want to keep playing.
It's the Viper. So.
What does he really have to do apart from time mech, throw out an ultimate, and then just right-click in a general direction?
3-man smoke up here from
They're going to find
Na'Vi.
Sealkid if they run down south. They're not running down south. They're waiting for an engagement behind the tier 1 tower. But they're here with no vision. They don't see anything. Like, this is the vision right now on the Radiant side. They're blind as bats.
Yeah, the top lane was already pushing
Dandy,
in.
No, Sealkid's too far back past the tree line. Okay, now he walks closer towards the tree line. The triggers the weaves, they get the vision on Dandy. The call way too late there from the Axe. In fact, not even existing. And Danny's just going to TP himself out to safety as quick as he possibly can.
Yeah, really put themselves in kind of a precarious position there, sticking around for so long. Eunice to watch out for. I mean, he's finally a factor, right? He went for the Vanguard first, which significantly delayed up his offensive capabilities. I felt like it was a huge mistake by him to go for that build, but now he's finally got that Blink Dagger, and he can be an effective force. It's not to say that the Vanguard is always bad, it's just that NiP relied on his aggressiveness to create space for the Lina and Storm, and with the Vanguard build only, we saw how many times Na'Vi just like ran into things, and Axe was left to like try and pull the orc maneuver that we talked about earlier, where you just run at them and hope you're able to get that that ultimate or that call off.
He was only an orc, not an Urukai.
Yeah. No, he totally was an Urukai, right?
Yeah,
he
it was
was
an
an
Urukai that was actually making the run.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't want to make you sound like a full cap.
Eric,
But now
jumping
you
down to bottom lane. They're going to get the pick off on Dendy here. This is a big one.
Yep. And there's no way for him to get out of this. Like, it's to keep the control up. Meanwhile,
Oh,
over
God.
on top lane, the Nova helps to burn out the Night Stalker, but Alistar's chasing after Limp. Unfortunately, that Alpha Wolf doesn't really help out with a lot apart from keeping the vision up. Icarus Dive is still available. Actually, sorry, take it back. He's only got the sprites available. Limp with a shallow grave just turns to fight. In comes
nice.
the dunk. Already Jonas arrives, and Snako not in a great position either. If he's getting spun up, there's no mana for another dunk, even with the stick charges and the bottle charges which have been given over to him. Okay, now he will have enough. So 3 euros for Na'Vi are going to drop.
Supremely well played there by NiP. Keeping Limp alive. That was so close. I thought for sure Limp was actually just going to turn and do damage, but nothing else. He actually managed to survive thanks to in part to the Dazzle, then his self-Yule Scepter to dodge a little bit of poison damage that would have killed him, and then another heal ahead of the Howl of Terror. All very nicely played. Jonas jumps away there. The damage from both Fire Spirits, and this is one of the big advantages of Blink Dagger versus the Phoenix, neither the damage from Fire Spirits nor the damage from Icarus Dive is instant, right? So it doesn't actually kill your Blink Dagger right away. So you can actually blink out despite the fact being hit by that. I believe Sunray also does not cancel it right away. So, all factors, and Limp with this Yule Scepter is going to get a pick off on Dendy.
Perfect, absolutely perfect. Axe comes in for the dunk. No way to survive that one. And he cut his way through the tree line also quite craftily because that Dire Observer Ward didn't get the vision to Denny. That's why he felt so confident there. He didn't realize there's a Radiant Ward a little bit further up while Era feeding into the Phoenix. There's no Nova available, and that's the first use, or is that now actually the second use of that Orchid, jumping in even deeper after Art Style. He does have a little bit more mana, but with the Ghost of Vorst fighting up against him, there's not much of a chance.
Midas now picked up by the Night Stalker. A good recovery Midas that will start getting him, like, if they can actually push this to about 45 minutes. The Night Stalker's not, like, he's not great late game. He's primarily more utility than anything else, but he does still need to finish up a full Aghanim Scepter plus a gem in order to be that utility force late game. So I don't disagree with the Midas, honestly. I think it's a nice pickup for Hanskin. He needs levels. His early game went okay. Like, he recovered quite significantly. Okay.
They're going to call it. They're going to call it. They're actually in a position at the moment where Na'Vi have already lost too many of their players. And they're realizing, too, they're falling behind. Maybe if they had 5 players, they feel a little bit more confident. Coordination could save them.
Right.
But that's going to be a, yeah, a GG.
So, pretty anticlimactic end to
Yes.
game number 2.
Yes.
I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, Na'Vi, they could have, you know, if they had their 5, they would have won that game. But to be honest, like, NiP were kind of hitting their stride, right? So, like, obviously it was hurt by the 4 versus 5 scenario, but at the same time, the NiP were just kind of like hitting hitting their markers. So just because like all of a sudden it was 4 versus 5 and then NiP start hitting, you know, a lot of kills and everything else, that was still going to happen 5 versus 5 solely because they picked up the Storm Spirit Orchid, plus they managed to pick up the Yule Scepter at the same time for Lina. So yes, it was obviously a big detriment to Na'Vi, and they obviously have to just GG out. But
yeah.
That wasn't to say that Na'Vi had that victory clear cut. So
yeah, it still could have gone either way. I'm almost fairly certain that Tulan's going to return the rares as well because of what ended up happening here. But either way, that is going to give us a 1-1 result for the games tonight, so everything is drawn up anyway. So thanks for watching, everyone. We'll be back for more D2CL action. I believe Thursday night is the next scheduled game where Empire have a matchup. But of course, keep your eyes peeled over on Dota.com. That is where you'll find all the information for all the games from any competition inside of Dota 2. It's going to be available there. You can also check all the details for the D2CL over at D2CL.org. There's also a nice little stats page if you want to see the stats from the tournament itself and a whole bunch of other information, so you can check it out there. And VODs, youtube.com/joindota. Hope you enjoyed the show as much as you possibly could. I hope you were able to tolerate us for the night, and if you couldn't, well, sucks to be you. Alright, thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you in Columbus, I think.
Yeah,
next time we're
at Columbus.
Yeah, you'll have Durka here, though. Durka will be casting right here on Joe Dota Red for the next week, every single day. Or maybe some other guys to help him out, so he actually has one day when he can breathe. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.